hooked up again here. We're actually using panfish rods today. Oh, I think we got ourselves a bass there. What do we have? Oh no, we have a really nice trout actually. There we go. So that's why it's nice to have a little bit of extra power there. Helps quite a bit for fighting these little bit larger fish. Hey guys, Blake Tollefson here. We're out here in Northwest Wisconsin today, trolling for rainbow trout on a small little lake here. Started off on a good note, so hopefully it's a good day. It looks like it should be. Stick with us. 19.25. Good way to start the day. Unlike a lot of other trolling, all we're using here today are just spinning rods. What you want to do is you want to make a long cast away from the boat. Like I mentioned before, trout are really weary, so you want to try to keep your lines away from the boat as much as possible. What I like to do is I like to have my drag set relatively loose just to give those fish an opportunity to pull on that. You know, this is a medium light, it's a softer medium light, so it will absorb a lot of those head shakes from the trout. But by setting your drag loose, it just gives them the opportunity to play without pulling those hooks, treble hooks. They're good at hooking into fish, but they're not always good at keeping fish pinned. With the treble hooks scenario, what I like to do, keep the drag loose. Looks like it might be a decent one. Typically what I like to do when reeling these fish in, I like to kill the motor. Just gives me a better opportunity to fight these fish a little bit better. What I will do is I just reel kind of slow and steady. And it looks like another decent one there. These, 12 to 15 inches, these are kind of great eaters. So there's nothing wrong with keeping a few of those. On this particular lake, we're allowed 5 of them. I don't think we're gonna keep 5 today, but we might keep a few for a nice meal. Another trout. This feels like it might be a decent one. Where we're targeting these fish is in the upper portions of the water column. It's early summer right now. Thermocline is established in this lake, especially in the deeper portions. So all of these fish are staying above that thermocline. So we're finding these fish primarily up in, I would say, the top 10 feet of the water column. This kind of time, these fish are much healthier than later in the summer. Trout like that cooler water a lot more than the warmer stuff. So as summer goes on, it's a lot harder on these fish. Yes, you can still catch them, but it seems like a lot of those fish die as the water warms. So what we're using today is actually a panfish rod. This is the Panfish series from St. Croix Rods. This is a 7.3 medium light extra fast. The reason I like to use the medium light versus a lighter power, one is because of the lures that we're fishing. If I was to use a light power, basically my rod would be constantly loaded. And then some of these fish that we're catching in here are a little bit bigger. This one is not huge, but having that medium light power just gives you the ability to fight some of those fish. Nice little trout there. A lot of fun here on these lighter rods. And we're hooked up again. Might be a little bit better fish this time. Looks like about another one of these standard size ones we've been catching, which is all right. So one thing you've been seeing me do a lot of is trying to keep these trout in the water. Trout are really susceptible to harm, a lot more so than anything else. Like I mentioned before, try to get your hands wet before you handle the fish, and then keep them in the water as much as possible, especially if you don't plan on keeping them. Looks like we got another one. I don't think this is our biggest one of the day. We actually caught that fish edge of a weed line, which is kind of surprising for this time of day. Typically, it's the middle of the day right now. It seems like the majority of the fish push out deeper. Decided to troll along this weed edge here, and there happened to be a few fish. So nothing big, but it's a trout nonetheless. So what we've kind of switched to here is casting. The reason we've switched to casting primarily is simply because we found a pod of these fish just kind of located here in this one area. When it comes to rod, really the main difference is that we've switched to the Legend Elite Panfish in the 7-foot light extra fast versus that Panfish series. And the primary reason for that is simply because of sensitivity. This is the most sensitive panfish rod that St. Croix makes. Honestly, it's probably the most sensitive panfish rod you can buy, and it absolutely works fantastic for this technique. Another nice little trout. It's been a great day trolling and casting for these trout. There is a ton of opportunities in the Midwest to catch trout like this. If you want to check out any of these rods, go to stcroyrods.com. I'm Blake Tollefson. We'll be back with more Midwest Outdoors.